Most people think money changes everything. But here's what nobody tells you. Money doesn't change who you are. It reveals who you have always been. The difference between someone who builds wealth and someone who destroys it has nothing to do with luck or opportunity. It's all in the mind. And in the next 8 minutes, you are going to discover why everything you believed about money and success was backwards. Let me ask you something. When you imagine yourself wealthy, what do you see? Most people picture the cars, the house, the vacations. But that's not wealth. That's decoration. Real wealth begins with a single decision, choosing to see yourself differently before anything external changes. There's a psychological principle called identity-based behavior. It means we act in alignment with who we believe we are, not what we want. If you see yourself as someone who struggles with money, you will make decisions that prove that belief true. If you see yourself as someone who manages resources wisely, your actions will reflect that, even when you are broke. Here's an example. Imagine two people both earning minimum wage. The first one thinks, I'm poor, so I can't afford to save. The second one thinks, I'm building my future, so I save what I can. Same income, same circumstances, completely different identities. The first person spends everything because that's what poor people do in their mind. The second person saves $5 because that's what builders do. 5 years later, their lives look nothing alike. Not because of the $5, but because of the identity behind it. Your relationship with money is a mirror. It shows you exactly what you believe about yourself. And until you change that belief, no amount of money will ever be enough. Now let's talk about fear. Most people operate from a scarcity mindset without even knowing it. Scarcity whispers in your ear every single day. It says things like, there's not enough, someone else will take it. You better grab what you can now. And that fear, that constant anxiety, destroys wealth faster than any bad investment ever could. Let me tell you about a guy named Marcus. He grew up watching his parents fight about bills every single night. Money meant stress. Money meant anger. So when Marcus got his first real job and started making decent money, something strange happened. He couldn't keep it. Every time his bank account grew, he'd find a way to spend it. New clothes he didn't need. Expensive dinners, gadgets that sat in boxes. He wasn't being careless. He was being controlled by a belief planted in his childhood. Money equals pain. His mind had learned that having money meant conflict was coming. So subconsciously, he got rid of it before the pain could arrive. It took him years to realize he wasn't bad with money. He was afraid of it. And fear makes you do irrational things. Scarcity mindset doesn't just make you spend recklessly. It makes you hoard unnecessarily. It makes you distrust opportunities. It keeps you small because small feels safe. But here's the truth. You cannot build wealth while operating from fear. Wealth requires calm. It requires patience. It requires the belief that there's enough and that you are capable of creating more. The moment you shift from scarcity to abundance, not in your bank account but in your mind, everything changes. You stop chasing. You start building. Here's where it gets interesting. Most people think wealthy individuals have some supernatural discipline. They wake up at 5 in the morning. They never indulge. They are robots. But that's not the truth. The truth is much simpler and far more powerful. Discipline isn't about forcing yourself to do hard things. It's about aligning your actions with your future self. Think about Oprah Winfrey. She didn't build an empire because she had perfect discipline. She built it because she decided, very early on, that her past didn't define her future. She came from poverty. She faced abuse. She had every reason to believe the world owed her nothing. But instead of letting that shape her identity, she used it as fuel. Oprah made decisions every single day that reflected who she wanted to become, not who she had been. She didn't wake up one day rich. She woke up every day committed. And that commitment wasn't about money. It was about integrity. It was about showing up as the person she knew she could be, even when nobody else believed it. That's the secret. Wealthy people don't have more discipline. They have more clarity. They know exactly who they are and who they are becoming. So their decisions aren't hard. They are obvious. When you are clear on your identity, discipline becomes automatic. You don't have to fight yourself to save money, because that's just what you do. You don't have to force yourself to learn because growth is part of your nature. Most people fail because they are trying to act like someone they don't believe they are, and that internal conflict exhausts them. But when your actions and your identity are aligned, there's no conflict. There's only momentum. So here's the part nobody wants to hear. The reason you don't have the wealth you want isn't because of the economy. It's not because of your job. It's not because you weren't born into the right family. It's because deep down, you don't believe you deserve it. And I don't mean that in some motivational poster way. I mean it literally. Your subconscious mind is running programs installed years ago. Programs that say people like me don't get that. Programs that say money is for other people. Programs that say if I succeed, I will lose something important. And until you confront those programs, until you rewrite that mental code, nothing external will change. Wealth isn't about what you do. It's about who you become. And becoming someone new requires you to let go of old identities, old beliefs, old stories you have been telling yourself. That's terrifying. Because those stories, even the painful ones, are familiar. They are safe, but they are also chains. The truth about mindset and money is this. Money will only stay with someone who's ready to hold it. Not physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And most people aren't ready. They want the outcome without the transformation. But it doesn't work that way. You don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. So where does that leave you? Right here, right now, with a choice. You can keep blaming circumstances. You can keep waiting for the perfect moment. Or you can start the hardest, most rewarding work you will ever do. Changing your mind. Understand that every decision you make is either moving you toward the person you want to become or keeping you stuck as the person you have always been. Every single one. The coffee you buy, the show you binge, the conversation you avoid. It all matters. Not because of the money, but because of the identity you are reinforcing. The wealthiest people in the world aren't special. They just decided to think differently. And that decision, that one shift in perspective, changed everything. You have that same power. You have always had it. The only question is, will you use it? Because the truth about mindset and money is simple. Change your mind, and your life will follow. Keep your mind the same, and nothing will ever change. The choice, as always, is yours.